This is not 1 or 2 games into the season and you're going, yeah, the Seahawks look pretty solid. Bump, it is week 10. You are 8 games into the season, or week 9 is just wrapped. You're 8 games into the season, and you are a top 5 passing offense. That's in terms of total yards. When you break it down by pass play, because you pass less than anyone besides like Baltimore and Philly, you actually are the most productive team by pass attempt. So my question for you, it's less about specifically the pass offense. Are the Seahawks the best team in the NFC? NFC West or the NFC?
I don't think they're the best team in the NFC. I think you still have Philly up there. They got that pedigree. They got that resume. They have some things they got to figure out, too. I think the Rams are probably still above them until we see them play against those guys. But I think after that, they are in the mix for sure. I think they've proven it so far up to this point that defensively they could be one of the best defenses in the game. Offensively, their pass game is so efficient, one of the best, if not the most efficient pass game in football. And the run game is doing just enough to keep people honest. So now I look at Philly and I look at the Rams, and thankfully we get to see the Rams in a couple of weeks. Still got to go through the Arizona Cardinals, but they are trending, and everyone else is starting to kind of recognize it. That's why I said on Sunday that was going to be a signature game. Mm-hmm. That was going to be the game that was the only game being played on television. The nation is watching, no matter who you're playing, even if it is a beat-up Commanders team. If you go out there and you just stomp them like you did, people are going to pay attention, and it's the way you did it. It's the first drive coming out, 12 plays, 90 yards, scoring a touchdown. It's the explosive plays to JSN. Hello, world. This is JSN, the best receiver in the game right now. It's getting your tight ends involved. Hey, we got 2 rookies over here that are scoring too. You got Arroyo who scored. You have Horton who scored. And then defensively, welcome back, Spoon. He's causing chaos. Nicky Mawari is in there as well. So, no, this Sunday was big because people got to see the potential of this team. Yes, it was against the Commanders. And, now it's about keeping things rolling. You make a great addition in Shaheed. I'm excited to talk about him later. And, they're getting some love.
Why aren't the Seahawks better than the Rams? And look, I'll say this. If they're not better than the Rams, then they're second to the Rams because the Rams are also excellent. Matthew Stafford is leading the league in touchdowns with 21. But Eric Edholm of NFL Network, number 1 and number 2 spots in his power rankings, has the Seahawks and Rams. Seahawks, not number 2. They're number 1.
Yeah, power rankings are funny. It's not – I don't think they're saying they're the best in the team. They're saying they have the best week. Because you look at – I think that the Chiefs are above the Colts in some power rankings. You look at the Colts season, right? They're 7-2. Have a better record than the Chiefs. But it's a reaction to the weekend and what you saw to that weekend. So, no, I can see them being number 1 through 3 because they beat down the Commanders 38-14 and did it in an efficient way. I think that was key. So I'll take number 1, but I still think.
Okay, what's keeping you from believing then? Just genuinely, let's have a debate.
I believe
here.
they're a very good football team. I need to see them beat the Rams.
Okay,
you got to beat the Rams. You got one of the best teams in your division right now. Like, you've taken down teams that you're supposed to beat, and you did it in impressive fashion. And they're a playoff team for sure. But I want to see you beat a big boy, and you haven't done that yet.
Why is the onus on the Rams, or excuse me, on the Seahawks? The Rams haven't beaten the Seahawks. They haven't faced each other. They won't until November 16th.
The Rams have done it. The Rams have a Super Bowl. The Rams have Matthew Stafford. The Rams have Sean McVay. The Rams have Devontae Adams. The Rams have one of the best defensive lines.
No doubt.
The Rams went to the playoffs last year. Hawks didn't go to the playoffs last year.
Yep.
The Rams have done it. So I want to see the Rams will now enter the realm of those teams that get the benefit of the doubt because they've shown for 5-6 years they are contenders. The Seahawks are like, yeah, they're contenders, but they're still on the up and up. They haven't won enough for me to say they are the best team in the conference. Top 3, I'll give them that. Yeah. But best in the conference? No, I want to see them beat the Rams.
I think I might, like, my gut actually believes in what you're saying, but just for the purposes of debate, because there's one to be had, Seahawks defensive line's better than the Rams. They're getting more pressures. Now, the Rams have 2 players who individually have more pressures than any Seahawks player, but the Seahawks are top 5 in total pressures, pressure percentage, sacks, doing it while blitzing less often than the Rams do. Their front 4 right now is better than the Rams. The Seahawks don't have as many passing yards as the Rams per game. The Rams only have 3 more passing yards per game. 3, single digit. More passing yards per game than Seattle. And Seattle actually passes the ball fewer than all but two teams.
Mm-hmm.
So per pass play, the Seahawks are more explosive than the Rams.
Yeah.
Neither team is running the ball. I know that the Rams just put up, I think, 170 plus against the New Orleans Saints. The Rams' run game is pretty much where the Seahawks are. They might try to run the ball, but they're not doing so especially effectively. They're basically carbon copies of each other in terms of their strengths and weaknesses offensively.
Well, the Rams have just as many sacks as the Seahawks.
Darnold's been sacked less than Stafford.
The Rams have 11 less pressures than the Seahawks. The Rams blitz 3% more than the Seahawks. On paper, they're an evenly matched team. But here's the thing with numbers, man. Like you can look at numbers, and there's always going to be argument if you put numbers into the situation, right? Numbers don't account for Matthew Stafford's 1,000 years in this league. It doesn't account for Sean McVay being in so many battles and influences NFL and showing that he can be clutch. It doesn't account for Devontae Adams' year 9-10 still being probably the best red zone threat in the game. Like there are humans that play the game that in situations those stats ain't gonna mean nothing. 3rd and 3. Can you get it done with all this pressure going on? So that's just what I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see the humans square up and get after each other because there's emotions, there's momentum, there's ups and downs, there are mistakes that are made. On paper, there's definitely an argument, and I don't knock anyone who says the Seahawks are the best team in the NFC. There's an argument for it, for sure. And I would applaud them, and I say I respectfully disagree with you. I think there are a couple teams I got to go through, but I ain't mad at you for thinking that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm pretty, not negative, but I don't know, like having been a reporter, you just are used to being a little more critical and negative, I guess, like to picking apart, because you're used to looking for questions naturally, and you're used to trying to figure out, well, would they win or not? So you're trying to look. It's just the natural way to look at things, right? So I'm shocked that I'm finding myself making more and more cases for the Seahawks to be number one because it's not how I entered the season. Not only is it not how I entered the season, I thought that they should be a playoff team. That should be their bar. I did not think that they'd be arguably the best passing offense in football, or certainly one of the best passing offenses in football. Oh, and by the way, they just added one of the fastest ball carriers in football.
Awesome.
And if you want to point to the Rams, General you, and say, oh, the Rams have better talent. Well, the Rams have exactly the same thing Seattle does, which is that after their top guy, there's not much of anything. Puka Nacua was 711 yards. Devontae Adams was 491. No one else has over 200. Same thing in Seattle. Jackson Smith and Jigba blowing everyone else out of the water, league-wide, but also certainly on Seattle. But okay, they just added to that group now. I don't know, man. I think they're better than LA right now, and I can't believe I'm saying it because it's not how I entered the season. But per play, this is a better passing offense.
Here's the great thing about this. They get to prove it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And it's almost like when I'm looking at my son, he's growing, he's developing, and I'm watching him grow, and I see it. I'm like, man, this kid is getting really good. He's getting really good. All right, in a week, you're playing against the number one team in the nation. Can you take your game to that number one team in the nation? I think you can. But now you got to prove it to yourself that you can do it. There's a mental thing that goes on there. That's why I love this argument, because we can talk about DVOA, we can talk about red zone, third downs, and all that good stuff. The great thing about this, they get to square up in 2 weeks. So I'm excited for that, man. It's like there's stepping stones, right? Power rankings, like what are power rankings? People sitting around and saying, hey, man, you see that game against the Commanders? You know what? These guys were 9th in my power ranking. They're going up to 1. Cool, respect. And you can't ignore what these guys did to the Commanders. But when it's talk about being the best, you got to beat the best. I think they have the talent to beat the Rams. I really think they do. But you have to be good on that day. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I give them top 3 team in the NFC. If they beat the Rams, I'll move them up to 2. Depending on what Philly looks like, maybe 1.